Good morning, students. In the last class, we have completed the positive and negative impact of privatization and also started a topic globalization. So today we are continue the topic globalization. Okay, there are different policy measures undertaken under the globalization. First one is rise in equity limit participation in foreign investment. Okay. Prior to 1991, foreign equity limit was restricted by a lot of formalities regarding approval, sanctions, and constraints. This limit has been raised from 40 to 51%. Approval, sanctions, and constraint on foreign investment has been relaxed after economic reform. Okay, when we were talking about the limit of foreign direct investment before 1991, there were too much restrictions and put too many constraints on the foreign investment. And after 1991, the investment limit, the foreign direct investment limit, was raised from 40% to 51, as well as all approvals, sanction, and the constraints are also removed so that everybody can invest their money in the foreign in the any companies. Okay, पहले क्या था, बिफोर 1991 की बात करते हैं तो जो भी इक्विटी लिमिट थी, मींस की इन्वेस्टमेंट लिमिट, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट की लिमिट क्या थी, वो लिमिट को रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर दिए थे बाय द डिफरेंट imposing the different kind of approvals, sanctions, as well as different kind of constraint and barriers. So after 1991, after 1991, the equity limit, which was 40 before 1991, it was raised up to the 51%, and all kind of restrictions, sanction, constant were removed. And after economic reform in 1991, the investment limit is also increased, so as to the more participant are coming and they invest their money. Okay, second is devaluation of a rupee. At the end of 1991, balance of payment situation was adverse, implying lack of foreign exchange reserve, as outflow of foreign exchange was more than inflow of foreign exchange. Rupee was devalued in July 1991 by nearly 20%. Devaluation of a rupee encouraged export and discouraged import. Okay. At the end of 1991, we have seen that our balance of payment is become the adverse, because the outflow of the foreign exchange is more than the inflow of the foreign exchange, and it also lack of foreign currency and foreign exchange reserve, because the foreign exchange is going outside, and as comparison to the foreign exchange incoming in our side, in our country. Okay, that means कि 1991 के पहले हम लोगों ने देखा था जो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट था वो एडवर्स सिचुएशन में था. क्यों एडवर्स सिचुएशन में था? क्योंकि हम लोग इम्पोर्ट क्या कर रहे थे, वो बहुत ज़्यादा कर रहे थे एज़ कंपेरिजन टू एक्सपोर्ट. सो जो भी फॉरेन करेंसी होते थे वो भी क्या थी, हमारी कंट्री से चले जा रहे थे. डैट मीन्स कि आउटफ्लो ऑफ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज, आउटफ्लो क्या हो रहा था, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज का ज़्यादा हो रहा था एज़ कंपेरिजन टू द इनफ्लो ऑफ foreign exchange. When there was devaluation of rupee occurred in 1991, it about nearly 20%. Okay, जो भी वैल्यू डिवैल्यूड हुई, जो भी हमारी करेंसी थी वो क्या हुई 1991 में 20% हुई, जिससे क्या हुआ, हमारा इम्पोर्ट बिकम कॉस्टलियर. अब क्या हो गया, इम्पोर्ट हम कर रहे थे, कम कर रहे थे, एज वेल एज एक्सपोर्ट क्या था, वो चीप हो गया था. डैट्स वाई हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट को क्या कर दिए थे, एक्सपोर्ट इनकरेज हो गया था एंड इम्पोर्ट वर बिकम discouraged. So import will restricted because it becomes so costlier, and we have too much encouraged to increase our export. Okay, due to because of devaluation of rupee. Devaluation of rupee की वजह से क्या होता है, हमारा import costlier हो जाता है, because first of all we have given the $1 equal to 50, but now it has increased up to $1 equal to 60. So that import for the fall in the value of the domestic currency in relation to the foreign currency, the import become costlier and the export become cheaper. So export is encouraging and import will discourages. Next is convertibility of Indian rupee. Partial convertibility of rupee was allowed by the government in 1992 to 1993 budget, but full convertibility of rupees was allowed in 1993 budget in current account, and full convertibility of rupees was allowed in 1993 to 1994 budget in current account. It refers to the purchase and sale of foreign currencies at a price determined by the market. Okay, it was allowed for the import and export of goods and services, payment of interest. What are the meaning of convertibility of Indian rupee? It means a sale and purchase of the foreign currency at a price which is determined by the market forces of demand and supply. Okay, it means the convertibility of Indian rupee, and it is called the partial convertibility because it is allowed 100% in current account transaction, but it is only 51% for capital account transaction. So it is called the partial convertibility. In the case when we are talking about the 1992 to 1993, there were the only partial convertibility of in rupee, but in the 1993 to 1994 budget, there were full convertibility of Indian rupee, and it simply means purchase and sale of foreign currency at a price which is determined by the market. Why it is needed? It was allowed because of import and export of goods and services, payment of interest, etc. For the from the convertibility of Indian rupee, it is allowed that we can import and export of the goods as well as services, payment of different kind of interest which we have to give in to the others, they are also allowed. Okay, this it is the convertibility of Indian rupee, which means the sale and purchase of the foreign currency, and the price is determined by the market forces, that is demand and supply. Okay, removal of control on foreign trade. A new 5-year trade policy was announced to establish the framework of trade with rest of the world. It removed almost all restrictions on the external trade. Open competition has been encouraged. All sorts of goods can be traded except for some goods which are of strategic importance for the nation. Okay, there were also a 5-year foreign trade policy were made, which were announced to establish the framework of trade. It is made only for the what are the different in this the different criteria procedure is given for the trade with the rest of the world, and it removed a 5-year foreign trade policy removed all kind of restriction which were imposed on the external trade, and there were also open competition is encouraged. More and more competition will happen. All sorts of good can be traded. Okay, all goods and services are traded, but except some goods which is especially related to the strategic, that is defense. It is not traded with the other country because it is the strategic, and every country has maintained their secrecy with the strategic goods. Next is modification of tariff. In conformity with new economic policy, custom duties and tariff imposed on the import and export have been gradually reduced. Okay, with the introduction of the new economic policy, all kind of taxes like custom duties, tariff which is imposed on the import and export, these all the rate of all these are reduced. The one which are still prevailing have been modified to encourage competitiveness. Still the some taxes were prevailing only because they have and they are also modified. The tax rate is reduced, as well as it is modified only because of the it encourage the competitiveness, as well as it also promote the international trade. Okay, more and more people will encourage so that they can compete with each other, as well as it also promote the international trade. Next is modification in technology agreement. Prior to 1991, there were restrictions for hiring foreign technology or foreign technician. According to new economic policy, all foreign collaboration concerning higher technology have been made easy by the government. According to new economic policy, no permission is required for testing domestically developed technology abroad. Okay, now before 1991 we have seen that there were too much restrictions for the taking the technology as well as any technician from the foreign, but after introducing the new economic policy, all foreign collaboration concerning higher technology, now countries are able to exchange their technology as well as their technician to made and there were no restrictions were made by the government. All countries are collaborated with each other, and according to new economic policy, no permission is required. Okay, now no permission is required for testing domestically developed technology abroad. Okay, for no permission is required for the any technique, any technology which is made in the any domestic market, they can also test in the abroad also. So for that purpose there is no need to take the permission from the government. Now there are different positive impact of globalization. Points in favor of globalization are: globalization has been able to establish link in such a way that the happening in India can be influenced by the event happening miles away. Okay, from the introduction of the globalization, it create a links between the what are the different achievement of India. It can be influenced by the effect of the what are the different achievement of other countries. Now they all are linked with each other. If anything good happening, if any achievement is happening in the other country, it is directly related to the India also, because if they encourage, now they can interact with each other, interlinked with each other, they can export as well as import the goods. So if the any achievement is happening in the other country, it also give the result the achievement of the India also. So globalization has been able to turn the world into one whole or creating a borderless world, as it provide easy access to global market. Now with the introduction of global, the whole world is one and there is no border. Whole country is the borderless world, because from the globalization it is very easy to reach, to go to the other market as well as global market. Now any goods can be exported to the other country because of the globalization. We are now exposed to advanced technology and are able to develop indigenous production in the international market. Okay, now we can take in the advanced technology from the other country, as well as we also export the indigenous goods, means Indian goods, domestic goods, to the international market also. Globalization should be seen as the opportunity in terms of greater access to global market and increased possibility of large industries of developing countries to become important player in international arena or market. Okay, globalization is an opportunity for the basically to the those country they are developing, because they are now able to access to the global market, as well as the large industries are become the main member or important player of the international market. Okay, before globalization it does not allow to go to the other countries and become the important player, but after the globalization, the big industries or the large industries of the developing countries, we have taken the example of Reliance. So because of that only we have access to the international market, only because of the globalization. What are the different negative impact? Globalization is a strategy of developed country to expand their market in other country. Okay, it is the these points are the negative. Globalization is strategy of the developed country. Okay, we have seen that it is the market, it is the strategy of the developed country, so that they can also reach the market of the developing as well as underdeveloped country. For that they can expand their market. The people of the population of the developing as well as underdeveloped developing country will purchase their product, so that they earn more and more profit. So the basic aim of the developed countries to introduce the globalization is that they expand their market in the other country. Market driven globalization has widened the economic disparities among the nation and people. Okay, because of the globalization, it also seen that there are too much disparities, as economic disparities are found between the different countries and the different people. Because the if the countries have the more affluent as well as they have big or global market, they have the more opportunity to achieve or to growth and development. But if the country like underdeveloped or developing, they do not reach to the trade of the other developed country, they do not able to more and more development as well as the growth of the country. So it also create the disparities between the, basically related to economic means financially, it also create the disparities between the in between the underdeveloped, developing as well as the developed countries. Okay, globalization has compromised the welfare and identity of people belonging to poor country. Now globalization has compromised the welfare and identity of people belonging to poor countries. Okay, due to globalization, all the countries now able to purchase those commodity which are more effective and which are more qualitative. For that, the welfare and identity of people of the lower countries as well as underdeveloped country, they loses their identity as well as welfare, because the production of that country will डैम्ड रैम्प्ड हो गया था, रैम्पेंट हो गया था, रुक गया था. और लोग क्या कर रहे थे, लोगों की डिमांड भी उन गुड्स की थी नहीं. जो डिमांड भी वो कर रहे थे वो किसकी कर रहे थे, कि जो भी एफ्लुएंट कंट्री थी, जो डेवलप्ड कंट्री थी, जो उनके प्रोडक्ट हैं उनकी डिमांड कर रही थी. जब उनकी डिमांड कर रही थी तो किसी भी कंट्री को वैसे इम्पोर्ट करवाना पड़ रहा था गुड्स को, विच लीड्स टू दी जो पुअर कंट्रीज़ थे, जो अंडर डेवलप कंट्रीज़ थी, उनका क्या होता था, वेलफेयर भी लूज़ हो रहा था, जो सोसाइटी का वेलफेयर एज वेल एज दे ऑल्सो लूज देयर आइडेंटिटी. ओके, बिकॉज नो बडी वॉन्ट टू परचेज दी कमोडिटीज़ ऑफ दी दोज कंट्रीज़. These all are the negative impact of the globalization. Okay, now we are going to move to the further, that is what is outsourcing. Okay, outsourcing, till now we have completed the what is the economic policy, new economic policy, what are the different measures as well as the different kind of policy which we have taken. That is liberalization, in which liberalization we have completed the what is liberalization and the different sector reform, as well as industrial sector reform, fiscal or tax reform, trade and investment reform. And after that we have completed the privatization. What is privatization, what are the positive impact of the privatization, as well as what is the negative impact of the privatization. Next we go to the next topic, that is globalization, in which we have studied what is the globalization, what are the different policy measures of the globalization, what are the positive impact of the globalization, and what are the negative impact of the globalization. Now we are going to start a new topic of that chapter, LPG, that is outsourcing. You have already studied about the outsourcing in your business studies class 11, means BPO and KPO, business process outsourcing, and KPO, knowledge process outsourcing. Okay, so it is also related to that. That means outsourcing This is the one of the important outcome of the globalization process. Okay, it is an emerging business activity. As information technology is growing faster, outsourcing has become an important need of the present time in the international arena. In outsourcing, a company hires regular service from the external sources, mostly from the other countries. These services used to previously provided internally or from within the country, like legal advice, computer advice, advertisement, security, each provided by respective department of the company. It is a form of economic activity which has intensified in present time because of the growth of the communication, specifically the growth of IT sector. So most multinational corporation and even small companies are outsource their services to India because these can avail at a cheaper cost with reasonable degree of skill and accuracy. You know very well what is outsourcing. Outsourcing simply means कि any company they hire the services from the external sources from the, for example, like other countries. These services are usually previously it all are uses within the country. We have taken the different services from the internally or the within the country, but with the introduction of the globalization, it is now the country is able to take the services from the other country also. Okay, so this is the one of the, okay, this is the one of the important sources of the globalization process. Okay, it is the most important part of the globalization, uh, because it is an emerging business. It is an emerging business activity, means it is a emerging business, a business which is starting. So as information technology is growing faster, we know very well the IT sector is growing more and more faster. Outsourcing has become an important part of the important need of the present time in the international arena. Okay, so outsourcing become the most important need of the present time in the international arena. Okay, so it is the big it becomes the important part. Now in outsourcing, a company hires regular service from the external sources. Okay, any company they hire the regular services, whatever the services needed in the any company, they hire the services from the external sources, mean outside the country, mostly from the other countries. It is only especially for the from the other countries. These services used to be previously provided internally or from within the country. Okay, but if there were no outsourcing and no globalization, the country used their all these kind of services previously within the country or the internally. The services are like legal advice, computer services, advertisement, security purpose, each provided by the respective department of the country. We know very well that each department of the company needed all these kind of the services, so they have hired the regular services from the within the India. But after the outsourcing, they have hired these services from the outside India. It is a form of economic activity which has intensified in present time because of the growth of communication. It is also economic activity. Economic activity means any activity which we done to make any income, to earn any income. So which has intensified in present time because of the growth of communication. It becomes more famous only because of the there is also a growth of communication, specifically the growth of IT sector. The information technology sector is too much growing, and the communication services, these all are the services which are day by day they all are becoming too much famous and too much need. So most multinational companies or corporation and even small companies are outsourcing their services to India. Okay, see this line that the all the MNCs and the small companies are outsourcing the services to India. Okay, to India में करती हैं all the basically all these multinational, even all the small companies, because these can availed at a cheaper cost, because these facility are availability of these services are at the cheaper cost, very low rate, with the reasonable degree of skill and accuracy. Okay, they all kind of these services, legal advice, computer advertisement, these services are available with the cheaper cost. The cost is not too much, as well as degree of they have reasonable degree. We can say that they have moderate degree of skill, as well as they are moderate expert. Okay, next is the main services which are being outsourced to the India by other countries are voice-based business processes known as BPO, record keeping, accountancy, banking services, film editing, book transcription, clinical advice, or even teaching. With the help of modern telecommunication links, including the internet, the text, voice, and visual data regarding these services is digitized as transmitted in the real time over continents and national boundaries. India has become a destination for the global outsourcing in the post reform period because of the low wage rate and availability of skilled manpower. Okay, the main services which are being outsourced to India by the other countries are all these services are voice based business processes, means BPO. You know very well, different kind of BPOs are available in the India: record keeping, accountancy, banking services, editing, book transcription, clinical advice, or even teaching. For these kind of services are outsourced to India by the other countries with the help of modern telecommunication links, including the internet, the text, or voice and visual data regarding these services digitized and transmitted in real time over continent and national boundaries. Okay, with the modern we know very well the communication as well all the other services are improving by day. For all these services are become digital, as well as they are transmitted in real time over a different continent as well as national boundaries. There are different kind of BPOs, as well as too much people are working for the other country. They have provided the they have text, the internet data, voicing and visual data. All these services are provided under the outsourcing services. So India has become a destination for global outsourcing. Okay, India has now become most important destination for the global outsourcing in the post reform after 1991. We talk about the after 1991, because of the low wage rate and availability of the skilled manpower. The both advantages are founded in India, that is they have the low wage rate and they also are the skilled manpower, so that India has become the most important destination for the outsourcing for the globally or the internationally. Okay, now the next topic is WTO. You also studied in the class 11th business. Okay, what is WTO? The World Trade Organization was founded in 1991 as a successor organization to the General Trade on Tariff and on a Trade and Tariff. Okay, it is called the GATT. GATT was established in 1948 with the 23 countries as the Global Trade Organization to administer all multilateral trade agreement by the providing equal opportunities to all countries in the international market for trading purposes. Okay, you know very well WTO World Trade Organization was founded in the 1995. You already studied in class 11 in business studied. It is as the successor organization of GATT. First of all, before establishing the WTO, it was the GATT, General Agreement on trade and tariff, and GATT was established in 1948 with the 23 countries. Okay, it was established as the GATT, but with the 23 countries, but in 1995 it becomes the World Trade Organization as the Global Trade Organization. It is the global trade organization. Okay, globally it deals with the or trade with the global, how many different types of global trade are related. They WTO deals with the Global Trade Organization to administer the all multilateral trade. Multilateral trade means ki trade between the too many countries. Two means more than two or more than two countries. Okay, it's not a two TWO, it's too many countries. So by the providing equal opportunities to all the countries, they also provide the multi. Here the multi means too much, means the it provide the administer as well as govern the too many countries and providing the equal opportunities to all countries. The WTO does not prefer the any one country so that they more focus on the that country. They provide the all over the countries, all over the countries at the establishment of the GATT. It was the 23 countries. They have provided the equal opportunities in the international market for trading purpose, for the trading activity, for the basis of trading. It provides the equal opportunities to all countries in the international market so that they can do the trade with the too many countries. And it was WTO was founded in 1995, and it is as the successor organization of GATT. First of all, it was the GATT. It was established in 1948 with the 23 countries, and they encourage to do the business or to the trade with the too many countries, and they also provide the equal opportunities to all. Okay, now what are the functions of the WTO? WTO establish a rule-based trading regime in which nation cannot place arbitrary restriction on the trade. Okay, they are basically based on the trading regime, means the main motive of the trading, and in which nation cannot place any arbitrary restriction on trade. Okay, no any nation can place any restriction on the doing the trade. The WTO agreement covered trade in goods and services to facilitate bilateral and multilateral trade. Okay, bilateral trade means a trade between the two countries, and multilateral trade means a trade between the too many countries. Okay, many countries. So WTO agreement covered trade in goods and services to facilitate this agreement cover all the trade in goods and services which is happen in the bilateral, means a trade between the two countries, and multilateral trade means a trade between the many countries. By the removing, it removes all kinds of taxes like tariff, non-tariff barriers. Okay, in non-tariff there are also quotas and the different type of taxes which were made on the trade. WTO aims at enlarging production and trade of services to ensure optimum utilization of world resources. Okay, the aim of the WTO was the enlarging, means increasing the production as well as trade of the services so that they can allocate the resources as well as optimally utilize the world resources. For the after the optimum utilization of resources, they can enlarging the production as well as trade of the services. It helps in providing greater market access to all the member countries as it provide equal opportunities to all the countries in international market. Okay, it also provide the greater market access. Okay, all the countries can also reach to the other market, and because they have provided the equal opportunities to the all country, it does not bias with any country. So it help in providing the access market or greater market to all over the countries, as well as because they provide the equal opportunities to all the countries. India, being an important member of WTO, has been forefront of the framing fair global rules and advocating the interest of the developing world. Okay, we know that the India is the important member of the WTO, has been in the forefront of the framing fair global rules and advocating the interest of the developing world. Okay, they are also important member, and they also frame the different global rules and regulation which were made, as well as advocate and tell the interest of the developing world. What are the interest of the developing world? The WTO also inform all kind of news, all kind of different activities, what are the different need of the other countries. WTO also informed, because India is an important member of the WTO. India has kept its commitment towards liberalization of trade. Okay, India always kept his commitment. Okay, they have not go beyond their commitment toward the liberalization. They have which we studied about the liberalization. So India always go through their liberalization on trade, that the different licensing policies all are removed. There were not any restrictions on the trade. So now India has promised, and India has commit with their all the restrictions, all the liberalization on trade made in the WTO by removing quantitative restriction on import and reduce tariff rate. Okay, they also commit with the WTO that they will remove all kind of restriction which were made on the trade, as well as all the remove the all kind of restrictions, as well as which is made on the import as well as the export, and reduce the all kind of tariff which were imposed on the imported as well as exported goods. So India is member of the important member of the WTO, and India always follow the rules and regulation which were made for the WTO.